Hi everyone, welcome to my video. Today I am going to be exclusively talking about GRE. If you are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Yemi and I'm Yemi Declassified because I'm going to be demystifying some myth about GRE. If you go through all the YouTube videos you have, they'll tell you how you can get a perfect score. They will tell you how you can crack the GRE code. But let me tell you something, there is something that is going on with respect to departments and admission office right now with respect to how valid and how authentic GRE is. Because if I must let you know, even if you have a low GRE score, that shouldn't stop you from applying for a program of your choice. And I'm going to be talking to you more about that because that is a myth that has engulfed here, that if I don't have a perfect score in GRE, if I don't have meet the minimum requirements about GRE, I can't get admitted into a program of my choice. But for those of you that have plans to do GRE, let me walk you through some things. What is GRE? GRE basically is Graduate Record Examination, and it is organized by the Education Testing Services. Primarily, GRE basically helps you to measure your command of basic arithmetic, tests you on different things on algebra, tests you on geometry, data analysis. It's going to test you on your basic understanding of vocabulary. You're going to be tested in 3 different areas primarily. You are going to be tested on your analytical writing, you are going to be tested on your verbal reasoning, and you are going to be tested on your quantitative reasoning. For your quantitative reasoning, you're going to be scored between 130 and 170, so you can either get between those 2 extremes, and also the same thing applies for the verbal reasoning. For your verbal reasoning, you're going to be scored between 130 and 170. In other words, the kind of score you can get is between 130 and 170. But for your analytical writing score, it's a different whole game because it's the grade point of 6. You can only get between 0 and 6 of an increment of 0.5. So people can get 3.5, 4. 4 is the main score. But here's my point. My point is not to introduce you to all the GRE techniques that are there, although I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to excel in GRE, because when you do GRE, to be honest, it's going to put you ahead of other people, because people that are applying for the same program that you are applying to, they are coming with a wonderful GRE score, so you have to give your best to it. But I am telling you that is not all that entails, because you getting funded when the program is not dependent on your GRE score. It plays a role, but it doesn't play a major role. It's not a major deciding factor. So for those that are planning to take GRE, I'm going to be demystifying some things. The first thing I want to talk to you about is that though you're going to be having your analytical writing score, you're going to be having your verbal score. It depends on the kind of program you are going in for. If you are going for humanities or social sciences, the truth of the matter is you don't even need too much of math section. You need more of the verbal section. So by the time they're going to be evaluating your score, one thing they will be looking for is what is your verbal score, because they feel like you need more of the more scores in verbal reasoning than in the quantitative section. So if you are going in for engineering, or you're going in for math, or for any other department that is math inclined, be rest assured that they'll be looking more about your math score, which is your quantitative reasoning, at the expense of your verbal reasoning, because all throughout your program you're going to be solving some mathematical equations. So understand the dynamics that are involved when you're preparing for GRE. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do well, because there is a minimal score. It is called the minimal requirements that you must have for you to even be eligible to be considered for the program. But I've been in this business for more than 10 years. I am telling you that that is not the case, although it is written in the paper. But let me tell you something, sometimes they bend the rules, and I'm going to be explaining how and why. For those that are interested in preparing for GRE, I want to give you some tips that is very, very important. Although if you check all the YouTube channels, they'll be telling you that you need to prepare for 1 month, you need to prepare for 2 months. I've watched some videos where they said, well, I prepared for 1 month and I got a perfect score. Let me tell you something, I need you to walk on your own pace. When you are ready to prepare for the exam, you will know. Based on all the people that I've talked to, it takes close to about 2 to 3 months worth of preparation before you can get a substantial score that is going to qualify you for the program we want to enter. So please pay attention to this, because you will be miserable if you prepare for 1 month and you feel like, well, I am ready because I watched a YouTube channel and they said you can get this done in 1 month, and you are not adequately prepared. So you need to prepare very well, and when you are ready to write the exam, you will know there is something on your inside that is going to tell you that, yes, I am ready. Another thing I want you to take note of in the place of preparation is that you need to understand that you don't have to cram, especially when you are doing your verbal reasoning. In your verbal reasoning, you don't need to memorize those words. You don't need to cram, because the kind of words they are going to give to you is going to be different from the ones you are going to do or you're going to solve when the exam comes. So don't cram. Just have an understanding and think of ways in which you can apply those words in your everyday life. So that is one way to handle the verbal. Also, you need to practice very well. In the quantitative, depending on the kind of book you're going to use, there are different kind of test preparation books out there or textbooks out there that you can use to prepare for your GRE exam. But one thing I would encourage you to do, follow the style, follow the approach, follow their recommendation, because it is not just about solving the problem in the exam, it is about solving the problem in a very fast and in a very quick time, because it is not that you don't know, it is because you are racing against time. Imagine you have to solve a lot of questions in a very short time frame, so you have to be proactive enough to look at what is the shortest cut to get the answer to the problem. And that is one thing that is unique about all these textbooks out there. So pay attention to the techniques, pay attention to the style that is being recommended in that test prepping material that you have. So that is point number 2. Point number 3 is you have to decide which one you are going to take. Am I going to take a subject testing, or I'm going to take the GRE general test? Most of the programs you are going to go into, they are going to ask you for a general test, but that is where you need to contact the admission office or the program you are trying to apply to. Also, and I want you to know is that there is a minimal score that you can get. Every program has a minimal score, and when you meet that criteria, you are qualified. But I have said all these things, but there is a caveat to all these things, and I'm going to be sharing this. Now hear this. You see, GRE is a major factor, but it is not a deciding factor. I'm going to repeat that again. GRE is a major factor and it is not a deciding factor. As a matter of fact, I have seen people with low GRE score getting into the program in which they want to get. How did they do it? GRE is not a good criteria to test the ability of students, because some people who have gotten very high scores in GRE cannot defend it when they come here, and most departments are doing away GRE scores right now. So if you are thinking that until I have a very high GRE score before I can apply to the program, you are doing yourself a greatest disservice. And I am demystifying all this myth that have surrounded GRE, that I have to get a good score. It is good to get a good score, but that is not all there is, because GRE is a major factor, but it is not a deciding factor. So now to switch gears, I've seen some people, they don't even meet up the minimal requirements, but they know what to do to win the heart of their prospective advisor. What did they do? I'm going to be discussing that in the next series of videos, so I want you to pay attention, and I want you to subscribe to my channel to get notifications about that. Now, if you don't want to do GRE score and you still want to come to the United States to have access to this great opportunity, there is something you can do about it. Have you ever thought of you coming in for masters? If you're afraid of doing GRE, come in for masters. Either in Canada or in the United States or anywhere, come in for masters. Do the best you can. and at the end of the day apply for PhD. It is much easier that way than you trying to bury your head in books, thinking that you want to get all the high scores in GRE, and yet you are not even meeting up the requirements, and at the end of the day you become dissatisfied because you have limited yourself to the minimal requirements, and you are hoping that until you get above the minimal requirement, that is when you can get in. Let me tell you this, I'm going to be talking to you about the power of insider, which is another series of video, but hear this. The power of insider is true. I have known some people that they even meet up the requirements, but yet they got in. Just stick to my channel, and I'm going to be walking you through series of steps in which you can get access to this opportunity even when you don't have a high GRE score. So I have said a lot of things about GRE and whether you need a GRE or not, and what are the steps you can take if you get a low GRE score. So please make sure you subscribe to my channel and click the like button and sign up for notifications so that you will be the first person to know when my next video is out. If there is anything you want me to talk about that I have not addressed yet, please feel free to put it in there, because I will do my best to address those questions. So please click the like button, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.